It is December 2nd. Whoa, we can say that now. Merry, happy Christmas fun times from Game On Hockey. Hello, friendo. My name is Graham Mosimann. Welcome to this episode of the show, which is on the road today because we had some technical problems at home. So it'll be a little different than normal, but still filled with a whole bunch of very, very cool and very good stuff to get your hockey fix for this December 2nd. Before the show gets on the road, I want to tell you about Hyperdrive Hockey. Max, Daphne, and Kevin, they dive into all of the wonderful minutiae around hockey that we necessarily can't do because this show is done in under 10 minutes. And I don't want you to miss out on some very good stuff. So you can find that show over on Hyperdrive Hockey, wherever you find podcasts, or you can go grab it on the Game Over Network's main YouTube channel and take a look at it there. So this was a very, very big weekend, and we had the opening of the PWHL season. So that is where we are going to spend the bulk of our time today because there are a couple of rules in that league that are so good and so fun, and you are really missing out as a hockey fan if you are not watching the PWHL. Sarah Filler, she was the first overall pick this year in the draft, Team Canada star. She is very much ready to wreck the league for the New York Sirens. She is so unbelievable and was around the puck the entire game as the New York Sirens took down the Minnesota Frost by a score of 4-3 in overtime. Now, she did have 2 assists, but she almost deserves a third because on one of the New York goals, you could see the defensemen were giving her so much room and so much space because they just didn't want to get burned by her skating ability that she was able to draw the whole team towards her to open up a shot that ended up going in for New York. So they're going to be a very fun team to watch this season. Congratulations to Toronto. You have beat Boston. At least the Scepters have, and they got to debut their new goal song as well, which is the best. It's perfect, and it just fits the vibe of the league so well. As the Toronto Scepters goal song this year is Chapel Roan's Hot to Go, which is perfect for so many reasons. You're hearing Chapel Roan like a little bit in NHL ranks. There needs to be more because she's the modern David Bowie. She's incredible, and it's cool to see her on such a main stage in the sports world where she maybe hasn't necessarily had as much exposure as say some of the music circles. So the Scepters took down Boston by a score of 3-1. And this game had 2 great examples of rules that the NHL should adopt, but they never will. One of them being the no escape rule. So Toronto took a penalty, and they had to put their person off the ice, but they were then not allowed to change. So this is the no escape rule that they just debuted in the PWHL this year. So you had 4 very tired players on the ice for Toronto, and Boston was able to capitalize with a power play goal very shortly thereafter. Now, the next very cool one was off the stick of Sarah Nurse. So she had the very first shorthanded goal of the season, and in the PWHL, if you score a shorthanded goal, the penalty is over. It's done. Your player gets out of the box, and it's finished. It is the jailbreak rule, and it rocks so hard. So Sarah Nurse was able to spring her teammate Izzy Daniel and ending the penalty after only 11 seconds. It was very fun. The Montreal Victoire, who have the nicest jerseys and logo in the league, took down the Charge. The Ottawa Charge, which is like the weakest of all the team names and jerseys and logos. I'm sorry if you're an Ottawa person, but they're just kind of boring. In the shootout, and who else but Marie-Philippe Poulin to win it for Montreal. Now, for Ottawa, Danielle Sudicini is from Edmonton, so a little extra Edmonton love here today. Got her first career goal after going 2nd overall. She's already made some big impacts for the national team. Keep an eye on her going forward because she is one of the best shooters in the league right now. Ottawa and Toronto will go at it tomorrow night, so we'll have to wait for that one. But it was a very, very fun, very cool first weekend of the PWHL season. I'm not sure what city you live in, but there are these neutral site games. There's one here in Edmonton in February that I grabbed tickets for, and it's gonna be so much fun to see. 10,000 people were in the stands for the Toronto Boston game. Now, this is a show that does focus on hockey, so we should probably talk about the NHL at some point. This story coming out this morning from Chris Johnston from TSN, 2,000 fine for embellishment, $2,000 for the Edmonton Oilers' Jeff Skinner. Now, to get out of an embellishment fine, you have to be first warned by the league and then do it again. And so Jeff Skinner got a warning for a game against Carolina and then officially got the fine for a game against New York where he was apparently diving. $2,000, don't really know what that's going to do, as that amounts to 0.07% of his annual salary. Players today were officially told that if they made the Four Nations face-off team or not. Looks like Travis Sanheim and Travis Konechny from Philadelphia all are going to be a part of those teams. Now, the rosters won't officially get released until tomorrow. Players and coaches are being let go today, as the rosters need to be finalized by this evening for them to be official, I guess. I don't know. I'm very excited for the Four Nations face-off, though. It's going to be an absolute blast. The one final thing I want to let you in on before we kind of wrap up the show here. I know it's a later version. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties, you monsters. Only one instance of game over is happening tonight. It is the Leafs and the Blackhawks face off in Toronto. This will be Connor Bedard's only visit to Toronto this season, so definitely a little extra juice in for that one. Toronto playing really, really well. Chicago being good for Chicago, but that is a team that's absolutely loaded with players that are going to be traded off for parts at the deadline. Thank you so much for joining us here on Game on Hockey, your daily rip around the world of hockey in 10 minutes or less. I'm Graham Mosimann. We'll get all our technical stuff worked out, and I'll join you back from the home studio tomorrow here on the Game Over Network.